your good friend Raf Of Khann coming to you live right now. Live, just like everything else is sort of, live. But we're actually live because right now is the night that is important in all of wrestling. We have both AEW on one stream and WWE NXT on another. Sir. All right. We are slowly late, but we are able to make our way back into it. So, Mike, I'm going to need you to back up just a little bit so we can see a little bit of your face. That's good. All right. So on my streams, you might be a little bit behind, but we have the walkouts going on over in AEW. Meanwhile, they're already at the match over for Adam Cole and one Matt Riddle. It kind of is. Why did you carry his bags?
I just was in the right place at the right time, I guess. Domestically.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the choices here for both of these first matches in the head-to-head?
This is a lot going on right now, to tell you the truth. The traces of it, it's all PWG all the time. I'm more... we've done the Riddle and Cole, and we've had Cody this whole time, but I think that this is pretty huge for Guevara, right?
Yeah.
To be the first one out, to be not a relatively unknown, it's got to be. Do you think he's nervous?
I would tell you this though. How much do you think they spend just in terms of production on Cody's hair per year for Peroxide?
Do you think he's just so anal about it he does it himself, or do you think people do it for him?
I think the dog and him actually get together and they make a thing of it.
The dog's actually black.
It is. So here's some interesting information that we should note. Today it was actually covered in Forbes. It's very weird to me. I mean, I know that wrestling is becoming more and more mainstream, but it is interesting to see reporters talking about the business equation of this whole scenario that is happening between the two. And they very astutely said, despite whatever they're saying, this is an actual war. As much as they want to downplay it and say that it's not a war, look at the fact that you've got major counter-programming going on between very young talent on both sides.
Could you imagine if we had to flip the channels between this right now, though?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go back to visit my 16-year-old self and be like, it all works out. There's magic screens. You watch it on a little mini TV phone.
One day, you'll be able to have two cable feeds going at the same time.
I'm pretty sure that my 16-year-old self would be like, wrestling's still cool? And it's like, you don't want to know that answer, kid. It gets really confusing at times, but you stick with it. Other people are lame, and then they come in and out. But you're a real one.
Wherever I want. Wherever you want.
Wherever you want, kid. The sad part is everything you have to pay a lot for it, so no big deal.
Back to what you were saying though. I was telling you, it didn't really hit me into the head until I kind of watched the lead up to the AEW the pre-show, but it was interesting that how they were talking about how they did change the business of it, how they were able to sell T-shirts and they were able to sell out arenas by not being in the mainstream TV. It became a mainstream underground almost. You almost had the mainstream, which was always going to be there, but you almost had another, like I said, underground mainstream where people were trying to be the top of that. And it was serendipitous. They kept on saying serendipity, and Meltzer. Is all Meltzer does is curls? I mean, does he just sit there?
I get on a treadmill and I give myself 3 stars on a treadmill. Today was a 2-star day.
No, I'm going to wear my Los Inconnables shirt. No. No, you think I should wear the podcast shirt? No, I got to put New Japan over. I got to put him over on TV. I can wear any shirt. I know it's a medium. I'm a large now. I've been doing a lot of first girls.
Do you think that Meltzer rates his food as well? Where he's just like, this was a 3-star sandwich. No,
that was a 4-star set. I did 4 sets of 10, 3.5 stars. Last week I got 5.
Oh man.
No, but I was actually, we always love hating on Meltzer, but good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him that he gets to be. What do you think Brian thinks of it? He's just sitting there watching it and just like, look at this fucking geek. Look at that fucking geek. I told him that's what I told him he should have worn his Okada shirt. He could be raining money all day, but no, you got to wear his extra medium low shirt. Fucking geek.
Well, we're already at a rest hold, aka a figure four, nods to the Dream happening in this match over here. Meanwhile, up top, it looks like it's a very interesting match between one Matt Riddle and one Adam Cole.
Baby.
There we go. It's Skype time. We got to work that one out a little bit.
Like you were saying, it feels like they're kind of like, were they going to go like hold for hold? It kind of feels like they're at the same pace. They were doing both headlocks at the same time. And I mean, talk about serendipitous. I mean, if anything, visually, that just means war.
Nah, man, here's the thing. Like, Vince, he totally set it up, man. Like, Vince set these people. He sent Chris Jericho to infiltrate him, man.
At at minute 3, second 45, you're gonna do a front face lock, and hopefully they're doing a reverse.
At minute 16, we're gonna send in Shane, just cause.
Jesus Christ! So does NXT have to? Like, does somebody have to come out, or is it just enough that they're gonna have? What is that? A little windjammer? What do they call that? With the knees to the back, jammer lammy.
Windjammer. We're now just giving ride names that are happening.
He hit him with the Parappa the Rapper.
That's actually a great name. I really wish there was more to it. There's a long stalling suplex from one Cody Nightmare Rhodes, though.
Well, it's giving me time to watch the replay of the jammer lammy. What is that called? No, what is it called? Something break like a lung. It's something like chimney sweep.
Yes, of course. You got Dick Van Dyke, who's really part of this.
He hit him with the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Is it very interesting to think at this point, though, that when they were trying to figure out what night they were going to put this on, that they literally looked over and they go, well, let's not do the football again. Tuesdays, they're a thing.
Doing push-ups, 7, not... Yeah. Is Cody buff enough to flex?
No, I mean, he's buff enough-ish. He's not the stuff, but, he's in the realm of being okay.
Was buff ever the stuff? Isn't it the machine to be lean or green?
What's interesting here is talk about a little bit of production. There's some interesting shots here, and this is very similar to what they do normally on NXT, so it's not too far off, but there's a lot of crowd shots of them going nuts. So just visually, it looks like they're telling you, yo, go nuts. See, ours is better because our crowd is way more programmed to go nuts.
I wish AEW would just have an applause sign in the crowd just to fucking do it.
Well, see, I was going to say this for this thing that I was covering, this grappling thing that's our Olympics, because they had so much downtime, and they just go like, oh, well, what are you supposed to do? And I go, get someone with a t-shirt gun, get a warm-up comic, bring out fucking, Jimmy Pardo to be like, hey, it's a great crowd. What's this guy doing over here?
That would work. I mean, the guy would have to get tombstoned by Kane.
At the very end. But he goes to the WWE Hall of Fame after just one appearance, though, so that's the good news.
A lot of blockbusters here on this AEW. I don't know if this is going kind of long to build up Sammy Guevara actually winning, because they were saying on the pre-show how the wins and losses were going to matter, and if Cody loses here, he can't just get a shot.
Yeah, I still don't... They said that they're going to explain what that all means. So I'm still trying to figure out, like, when they say wins and losses are going to matter for a predetermined sport, I mean, do you start lobbying to your friends and being like, yo, will you trade me one of your wins? Because it's Christmas, and I'm trying to win this title before, the end of the year, please?
Meanwhile, Canadian Destroyer off the... So Adam Cole he jumped off the rope and did his Panama Canal. Canadian Destroyer. And he should just go full David Lee Roth one day. Cody with a Tobe code hello onto Brandy. That's a nice
Yeah.
dress. So he stepped on the dress. I think she's gonna be more about that. So is the Canadian Destroyer like the new hip toss? I mean, we're seeing an awful
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah, that's what you learn day one in wrestling classes. You're like, all right, everybody, you're going to get Canadian Destroyered. And people are like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how I'm supposed to take that. Hey, learn as you go, kid. You're fine.
No, they have to localize it for them to understand. There's the Boise Destroyer. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that.
So there's an interesting thing happening here. I wonder if this is part of a choice. We're going to be making a lot of guesses here today. There's no right or wrong answers, at least that I'm aware of, people. But does it feel and look, maybe just from your opinion and mine, that it seems that AEW is going more the storytelling route, while WWE with NXT seems to be going a little bit more oddly on the athleticism route?
I think the AEW's goal has always been to do a combination of the two, and I think that's this whole Sammy Guevara. I think it's just, I think it's just because of the matchup. I think NXT just wanted to come out of the gate. This is a lot to keep. This is a lot to keep up with, dude. To try to watch both of these at the same time. I think that's what they're. I think they're doing this on purpose. But AEW is doing a good job of. I mean, that's Cody's not the best wrestler. He's not a Matt Riddle, or Adam Cole's almost the finest line between being a really good wrestler and a really good storyteller. Like, he's viable as a wrestler. Cody, he's more of a storyteller. So for him to put his storytelling in there with Guevara's work rate, with all the Flippy McGillicuddy and him being like hungry and one of the up and comers, and him being in the spot for a reason because he's been turning up on the indies and being the smarks that we are. But yeah, it's I don't know if they're trying to find any kind of balance. I think they're just trying to. I feel like AEW is going to run the risk of going long if they are trying to tell a story, because this story can't go that in depth. It's pretty simple. Now, to have a championship match, the first fucking match, that's kind of what we would see more heavy duty. There's more story in that, but like, you're right, it seems more go with, oh my god. I like when I'm trying to go live with you, knowing that I'm on camera. I can't remember any of the fucking names. I don't know how Mauro Ronaldo does it. He'll just make up names for him.
We've got a real Luigi Mario situation here. Mamma Mia! The sequel, Mamma Mia, can't hardly wait. Is that the movie? I don't know.
That's the Haunted Mansion. Adam Cole again with his Haunted Mansion 3 Destroyer off for out of no reason. Shining Wizard, Matt Riddle. Yeah, how does it even keep up? It moves so fast. You got to talk faster. You got to talk faster like this, and you got to scream. And then he's got a front face lock, and the NXT crowd is going crazy right now. A lot of clapping going on. So
what's great though? Look at this. This is essentially what would be considered in the old times, again, a rest hold, where it's kind of a rear naked choke, and the audience is getting way more hype there. So at the very least, even if it's not like by design, it's just come with the experience of all these people going to NXT shows who just know to like act the fool. I don't know if they're telling them this beforehand. I think it's going to be very fascinating to see how people are responding to this as we go on more and more in these wars.
So when you're watching this right now, do you feel WCW at all?
Yes, and that part that I did feel about WCW, and we have one match finish by just to make sure.
Said, it ends on how did that end right there?
Essentially on a roll up.
A little bit of bubbly. Yeah, that's such a backwards.
Hey, but you know what though? We're right on schedule because WWE NXT just had their finish. Right about the same time. So we're talking just like 2 seconds off here, people.
Do you think that can be planned?
Maybe. I mean, how long would you say that most beginning matches go just to begin with?
Well, this is a special circumstance, Raf. This is the biggest night, as Tony Schiavone would say every time. This is, I didn't see that breakdancing. This is the biggest night in the industry's history. And it kind of might, for this generation, this is going to be the most important night in a really long time.
Brandy taking the
full. She just got mushed in a White people call it a pie face. Most of Brandy's family would call it being mushed.
Hey, but you know, you're very hitting that that whole little riff that they just did with him and Brandy. I'm a huge fan of that. I thought that was a great spot. But it does seem like they're writing this fine line of just being like, we're gonna get some kind of outside interference, but we're kind of in an era where it's just fine.
I'm glad I didn't overtake the match though. They could have turned it into a whole that hampering Cody, like that was gonna sell. They just kind of paid attention for about 2 minutes and then kind of moved on. Oh, speaking of which, Tony Baloney.
Tony Schiavone is back in there and he's feeling.
Oh, like he's getting over.
Yeah.
But though that's kind of okay. So I'm not a big fan of Tony Schiavone. I'd rather look at Adam Cole. Can we look at? He's a beautiful man. Somebody's coming out. I don't have any audio.
Oh no! Who possibly would come out at a time like this and ruin the moment?
Somebody with better abs.
So I have to ask this: do you know the results? Did you look up the spoilers?
No, this is the first time I've seen it. That's kind of crazy. But here's the thing: I'm super underwhelmed by it. What is it like? Poor Finn Balor, like he has to go back. He has to go back and job to NXT. I bet you the fans are going fucking nuts. The fuck out of here,
guys!
Wow,
Chris Jericho's already doing the run-in while Finn Balor's there.
Whole lot of leather going on.
I was about to say there's a whole lot of leather jacket being brought to this attention right now.
Oh wait, hold on. I gotta get this segment sponsored by
a little bit of the bubbly. I'm very nice.
Did you see? I was actually watching their setup video and they had an ad for this brand of seltzer, and I was like, it's fucking genius and it's on purpose.
Oh, that's really well done.
All right, let's see what.
Who knew that would get over, though? That's amazing.
I kind of don't understand it. Oh, look, they're doing commercial on commercial.
I'm a fan of that. I like the way that they're kind of integrating because they already said for NXT there was going to be limited commercial interruption. And you're talking about the Finn Balor going down and getting a demotion. I mean, is this a job where you actually are fighting to get the demotion? Are you calling up somebody and being like, yo, can you put in a word? I forgot to turn in a timesheet so you can send me back down there. Yeah. I know, I hate me. Oh, I'm so terrible. Purpose. Just self-sabotage.
I have some bad news, Finn. We're going to have to send you to... Yes. There you go. Wait, no, this is bad. We're going to cut your salary in half. I mean, we're going to give you We're going to give you a haircut. That's all we can do is give you a haircut. And back in the condo at Full Sail. People are hyped on it. I guess look at Tyler Breeze right now. Look at Bubbly commercial. I'm telling you, right when Jericho's on the screen too. Oh, they should be. Yeah, that's on purpose.
They coordinated this dance quite nicely.
Yeah, that's fucking genius. They know when those ads are going to run.
Yeah. Also, I mean, go ahead.
This is kind of anticlimactic with this whole Finn Balor thing, right?
Nah, I'm okay with it. I mean, I think we're at a place where, he got to go have a vacation. He got to get a little bit of a rest.
So, I mean, they can't set the undertone where they're both former. Was Adam Cole leader of the Bullet Club long enough for that to be a thing?
Does that matter? At this point, I feel like we're just getting a little bit of a reset button on the whole scenario where they're just kind of if you haven't seen anything, don't worry. There was no Bullet Club. There was just these guys. They all wear leather jackets. They're all friends. Don't worry. We'll explain it to you as we go.
Well, Finn Balor's going to have friends.
Oh, Jesus. This is great. Goddamn Jericho. God damn, how are you still so good after all these years? This man knows there are fucking Arby's commercials, and yet he is crushing it and just waiting. And who is able to waste that much time and be like, don't worry, you want me to vamp for 3 minutes exactly? I've got this.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was watching Raw, and the tag teams came out, and granted, I told you I was watching it with somebody that had never watched it before, and then they did a recap package of what Brock had done, and then they did a Seth Rollins interview, and then they went back, and I think it was Bobby Ziegler and Dolph Rude were both standing there, just standing there still for 5 fucking minutes. They just have to. Does the music turn off? I mean, at least they're working right through it just seamlessly. I kind of caught a glimpse of what the ads were, especially with the bubbly, but like your attention was definitely on. It was almost like a silent. This Jericho is like, I'm a huge Chaplin fan. I got this.
We're going straight back to the old times right now. I just love the fact that at this point you've got a ref that's acting like a stage manager. That's like, you got T-20, so let's wrap this up, all right, Jericho? We need you with the chair by stage left, all right?
How many times do I have to tell you? Every time you come down here, Chris, oh, those chairs look a little padded though, no?
I mean, yeah, sure. Especially...
Looks like that's the chair my dad would ask for.
Especially at this point, no, we're at a certain element, though, with Chris Jericho probably having to tell Cody Rhodes, like, you remember how you were with spots in the past with chairs? Let's maybe take today a little easy, because we got to do this 52, weeks. It's not really the funnest.
I like the Studio 54, like the all-inclusive studio. I like that light behind it. That's cool.
Can I just set some appreciation for this stage? It's simple. It looks like a fucking chandelier, so it's classy as fuck. You've got like two screens, which I appreciate. And then they've got what I call the American Gladiator tunnels. That they
Battlestar Galactica. I can't wait till they run the Benny Hill where one of them's running in of it and one of them's running out the other one. They're just going to be back, and then they just loop around it. Like, are they connected?
God damn it. Now we've got a Velveteen Dream making his way on out with his harem. You know what? That's great counter-programming. Nothing says, shit, Chris Jericho is out there, send in the Dream.
Right. This is, again, I'm running it with no audio, so I'm probably just missing him reference himself in the third person. Raf, I have to tell you the truth, I'm way more into this AEW right now. That Adam Cole Matt Riddle match was probably awesome, but it got, unless you're gonna watch it separately, trying to watch it at the same time is not the jam. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
It's requiring a lot of its audience. For one, is able to keep up with dual storylines without hearing things. And who knew that hearing people cut promos would be so missed? Like, this is the shit that we all go through on Raw, and we go, I'm good. Let's get to the things.
Yeah, but I like at least they're doing the whole blacklight thing. You know, man, like, this actually is a good setup for this new character I'm working on, man. Because,
man.
You know, these wrestling promotions, man. No matter how old I get.
Yeah, okay. I was just like, you were channeling the right amount of high for McConaughey. It's more so the execution of, like,
right. No, the writing really wasn't there. Did you see this motherfucker's merch?
I did. Oh my God.
Okay,
MJF
you kind of have to.
Yeah, I got it. I'm actually gonna. I gotta say right now, MJF is 100% the best heel that's going on.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, not okay. Yeah, but Pentagon is like what used to be like the best scary heel going. You know what I mean? He's gonna fuck you up, and he's just a monster. But this guy.
Do you understand though that I've been waiting this whole time for MJF just to be on national television because I just knew, I'm like, oh shit, that's where we're heading. This is gonna be amazing.
How mad is The Miz? And like Tino Sabatelli and guys that just wanted to be, or even like EC3 should be livid.
Here's the thing. They only half committed to this version of a character. This is full commitment.
By him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's like the hardest part about being a heel is that if you are going and like dipping your toes into the heel pool and you don't fully go for it, you get to a certain point where you just go, shit.
Like
I want to be liked.
Like how he just winged his full like wad of gum in somebody's face and just even looking. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's pretty good. And now we're getting a Leo Rush montage on the other end,
which by the way, great counter programming for MJF.
Oh, that's so his whole. So the scarf, dude. Did you see what the scarf said?
What does the scarf say?
The scarf has an iron-on that says, "I can't afford a real scarf." I would get it. That's the only scarf I would ever. Oh, so we're doing a cruiserweight match, I think. Drew Gulak
Yes.
and Leo Rush, which, for my money's worth, next week. Never mind. So, does anybody care about Brandon Cutler?
No, not really. Not to my knowledge. I mean, I think I've seen an interview or two, but it's not like I'm personally invested in him. Are you?
Why should I? Oh, here's my. Okay, now this is where my attention goes away because my everything is coming out on NXT.
Who's your everything?
Io Shirai is everything Auska kind of should have been.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Are you referring to the spot that just happened right there?
People care about Brandon Cutler less now?
I just know that as we proceed, like when I say what good television is, I just like the idea that MJF is going to be that person who's just going to be the utility guy. Like there's nothing that makes me laugh more than MJF talking casually about his friendship with Cody Rhodes and being like, my best friend, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, we were hanging out. It was pretty good. And I'm just like, yeah, that's seamless. That's perfect.
Well, and that too, that's what AEW, and then we go back to what you were saying about the difference between NXT and AEW. They're telling that story, and they might tell it for a couple years. They might not, people might not even realize that they're slow burning something at all. When I think people might have expected to the last pay-per-view when they're in the Star Trek outfits for him to turn, but it kind of, the rib is I think the turn these days is to not turn. If you hear what I'm saying,
the constant tease of the turn is almost being a heel.
Because Ring of Honor was doing that for a while, where every Briscoe match they'd have a 2 out of the 3 falls. They would win every 2 falls, and then you're waiting for it to go 3 falls, and they just never did it because, of course, you think, now's the time because it's what's supposed to happen. There's no heat to this at all. I feel bad for this dude.
Go ahead. Tell us why.
This is what Triple H would refer to as like a vanilla, right?
like he goes to an ice cream store and goes, "Give me a Brandon Cutler, please."
Oh, see, what is... Okay, is that just Uber? So... So this leads to me to believe that he botched because he was hurt. Why would he do that? This doesn't make any sense right now.
I wish I could make sense of it for you. However, we get a tap out from Brandon.
Not good. AEW, not good. But to tell you the truth, not everything was good on WCW as much as you look back. If you go back and watch old Nitros.
We let a lot of stuff go, and I do wonder at what point how much the 15-year-old lens I was watching with was as astute as it would be 10 years later if I were to once I got access to the network, I was just kind of like, let's go see a couple. I'm good. You know what? I take it back. Nope.
With drunk Juventud Guerrero against a hungover Psychosis, just
was hearing all the stories now and being like, oh. Yeah, it's a little sad on that part. Okay, I'm good, everybody. I want to bring up a couple things, a few of which are important for, I think, our audience to understand, which is that when we're talking about this war between these different entities and the appearance of what it can be, it is nice that you don't have to switch between channels. There is something cool about having 2 iPads or an iPad up and a cell phone up, and you're able to kind of go back and forth between the two. But we thought that it might be actually cool to keep you guys as most up to date as possible. So I've actually set up a few things here on my side.
Yeah, because I'm so not proactive about anything like this. It took me forever to even get. I can't believe this webcam's even working. I can't even see myself. I know. Apologize.
The one thing that you would probably
being so handsome.
No, the thing that would make me a little bit happier is if you could somehow still angle yourself in the center. and I know you can't see yourself, but like there's a couple times when I do this double shot and you're barely in the double shot, so that I have to work around it. So I'm cutting around you. This is okay. Stay right there.
So I just need
just kidding. Move it a little bit more to the right again.
If nobody, because nobody's ever gonna pay attention to this. Like I said, we just do this to. But I apologize to everybody. I don't know if I'm supposed to look at a camera or not look at a camera or give you my Obama profile.
If you can go ahead and give it. Don't call yourself Obama. Don't put yourself over like that. I want to make sure that we can give you guys a little bit of the peak, because we are an all-encompassing show, because we're at a place now where I don't know if other shows can do this, but we can definitely show you what is happening on the interwebs, aka I can show you what, and I don't want to give away any of the results or anything, but I'm going to take you guys straight on over to what we like to call the share screen button. So right now I'm actually going to be able to show you, not my Gmail, that's not super great, I'll go ahead and get that off there, but let's look at this right now. If you look, this is the AEW page. So you can get a couple of the results. We don't want to do that. I do like these AEW chairs. I didn't even really get to see that all that much. But you could definitely see the AEW chairs. Look at that. Well, you can't see it, so.
Somehow my buddy Griffin's going to end up with one of them somehow.
But, like, think about that, where you just kind of are like, I don't know, if you got up from sitting on one of those, would it be really weird to have all those dudes just looking at you? Just,
that's what you're. Oh, look, there's your boy, Chris Van Vliet.
Oh, good for him. He's friend of the show.
Look at and Jay and Silent Bob. Wow. Absolutely. Okay, what are they promoting?
They're promoting being
there's
alive.
Conan O'Brien on the couch. What's Andy Richter doing out there? Holy shit.
Yo, but here's the thing.
Kevin Smith looks like he had a heart attack, dude.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
I've had many different interpretations of Chris Van Vliet, but I appreciate that he didn't mind us using his audio and video. So I was very pleased with that for a meme. But his suit looks good. I like that. Not a huge fan of the tie, but I'll go with everything else.
Tight fade? No, it's a tight fade. He's looking good. He's got a good little part going. I'm not mad at this dude at all. He's kind of... He's a little bug tooth, but that's all good. I mean,
come on, give that kid.
Is that like
Uh-oh.
It's my boy right there. Does Jack Evans ever age?
Guess not, dude.
He's been in the game for, I mean, since Ring of Honor started. That's what, 2000. It's like if you took Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem and combined them. That's what you would get. That's what you would get.
There's a lot of what is ever the opposite of Smoochy Boochies, but you know.
Or they're cutting promos on. I didn't even realize that they're cutting promos on Jay and Silent Bob. Like Jack Evans yelling at Jason Mewes is like that Spider-Man meme just waiting to happen. Essentially, right? What's Jason Mewes gonna do?
What will be interesting is seeing Kevin Smith tell the stories about this on his podcast going forward and be like, yeah, man, I didn't even know they were doing promos around me. I just thought they were going to give me a belt and some popcorn.
And then these two guys, they just, in these neon suits, man, they just rolled up and they just started yelling at me, man. Like, I don't know, really reminded me of, like, you know that scene in Red State, you know, when they're at the bank and they're, like, before she pulled, like, shut the fuck up.
You know, it is nice, though, to see that place. It is mostly full. We also have the very beginnings of the World Tag Team Championship Tournament. So it does seem that, how do you get a bye in a tournament?
Oh, because they won at the pay-per-view.
Oh, good call. Okay.
They had that three-way. It was them, Best Friends, and I think the Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Express is what they're referring
to. I guess they're the most over thing, period. I guess they're selling the most T-shirts at on Pro Wrestling Tees. They're kind of...
Here's some other fun things to look at. Since Mike can't see these results, I might be up on some of them. It is interesting. I thought as an experiment would be to show you guys what is trending for both of these. So if you just type in WWE or NXT, you find these as your top results. So I thought this would be good to look at. And for whatever reason, Roman Reigns is at the top of that search list on for one of the top searches on there. But here you have replica belts. I like that. Somebody went ahead and put 3 different belts, which I think maybe they're trying to insinuate that there is a sort of combination of the belts. What kind of fakery is this? Edge quits weekly podcast with Christian. Speaking of lace, everybody explaining he does not have the time and schedule to consider recording. Now that he has family commitments, and with Beth's new role as a weekly commentator, Edge says he doesn't know what will happen to the show anymore. Oh shit, let's take that fucking audience. Hey, that's sad, but oh no, we're good. So listen to us. If that's true, come listen to us instead. It's way better.
Yeah, we have planned segments. Tommy Dreamer is going to be stopping through. We can't even get GSP. I can't even get a correct camera angle because now I can see me on Facebook. And
I already told you the camera was great where it was, so just move it down just a little bit that way. A little bit. Move with me. Okay, stay right there and never move.
I hate fucking SCU. Am I supposed to like SCU? I mean, who are these guys? Pentagon in a jacket? That's kind of weird.
That is weird. Maybe it's just cold over in Washington right now.
Is that... Oh. No, I guess it's like supposed to be like... I mean, that's just kind of formal. He might as well come out like in a full like mariachi fit.
Dog, we don't got time for the mariachis. But I do appreciate that branding with the TNT in the background and that little projection-ish that they got going behind it. That's pretty dope. I'm pretty into that.
Yeah, it's good. It's nothing overblown. It's clean. Do you think that the new Raw stage did anything at all to it?
I gotta tell you, dude. I came from a weekend where, especially in my sport, they refer to it as being the world's most ridiculously great production they've ever seen. And all I could think of was, this isn't even like an indie show for wrestling. Like, this is barely that. So then WWE just goes, oh, we're going to just throw some money at the Raw stage. And I looked at it and I go, that's production. Like, that's an amazing set. So, yeah, I got no beef with the Raw set. In fact, I think it's a good way to modernize it. I don't really care for pyro. I know other people do. But, you know, other people get off on that sort of shit. I'm just a fan of that. It seems like the set's a little bit more durable the way it looks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I want to say hello to, what is this?
Hey, what's up with this Brock stealing the show over here?
But we got Elijah Cole now following on Twitch. Hello, Elijah. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you as a follower. Give me money.
Hey, Elijah, I'm going to take this bong hit for you, okay, bud? Because
I don't think that's what we're teaching the kids here. No bong hits.
Oh, he's going to be like 12 years old, too. Like
we don't know what our audience is yet. Elijah Cole, baby. We got you now on there. Hopefully you're not an actual baby, because that would, we've been cursing a bit, so just want to make sure you know.
Heat on me. So, am I vain because I want to see myself?
Yes. But here's the good news. If you saw that they were taking a break over on with the limited commercials snapshot where they just slid the commercial to one side and let Jericho beat everybody up. If you're looking on NXT now, they're doing the exact same thing. They slid into their match just to give you some time to go ahead and do your thing. How was the bomb?
Yeah, but there's no... Oh, you can see it? No, it's good. It's just... It's like breathing, Raf. I'm sorry. It's been... I mean, we can talk about it on our new podcast we're going to do after this called Mike Gets a Quick Intervention by Raf. But, yeah, I don't know. So, are we expecting way too much with what's supposed to be going on?
No. I think it's appropriate to have a certain amount of expectation for it. Maybe there's some comfort food that we're not quite sure how to process again, seeing what feels like a WCW come back to life, just with people who are now our age.
So, yeah, I was thinking, like, you remember, I was going to tweet out to, like, all the randos, like, you remember when you used to watch wrestling when Stone Cold and The Rock were big? Like, it's going to get like that, but I didn't believe myself enough to to think that, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Like you said, it's like, are we expecting way too much out of this?
I don't know. I'm of a even kill place. Like I want to be entertained. I want to enjoy what is presented in front of me. I like that there's two things that's happening. I like that people are excited about wrestling because it's been a while. And most people have been trying to downplay it and been looking forward to this. So there's an inevitable come down from the hype train that it's really hard to control. But for me, I'm like, yo, this is fucking dope, dude. Like, give me all the more fucking wrestling that you can, dude.
Well, yeah, but okay, but we're spoiled. We've been to PWG. We've bumped into Dave Meltzer. He's still, you know what I mean? We've been to Ring of Honor. We've WrestleManias and pay-per-views. Like, for the casual person that's just going to maybe give it a shot, what are the chances that they're going to find a difference in what's going on? Are they just going to write it off to where it's just like it's wrestling and it's the same thing, but we can tell the contrast because we kind of want it. You know what I mean? We want that difference. They're adamant about saying it's for the fans. It's for us.
Sure. Well, the other thing to consider is this. There's going to be a lot that I think they're going to go over and try and, like, do trial and error. Because for me, I'm like, I'm very open to them trying their new shit. I don't think they're supposed to have it figured out on episode 1. They've only put together a handful of events. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of, like, okay, cool, those worked for the ones where we had 3 months to just kind of chill. Now we really got to, figure out how to keep people interested for a much longer period of time. This is a long-sum game.
Was Jericho wearing a headband, like a thin headband?
Maybe. The headbands are really in right now in the athletic world.
Speaking of which, there's why would neither Rose have a headband on a headband?
Dog. Okay, but if you want to take it to the next level, you can't just wear one headband. You got to go headband to headband.
Would it be out of line if that was like tripled as a fanny pack kind of of sorts?
It's part of the custom of the trade, and there are a lot of people over in the jiu-jitsu and MMA world who are starting to wear fanny packs, and it's really hard for me not to make fun of them.
Like while they roll?
No, but there's John Danaher, who's like the mecca of our business right now, is always like, let me get something out of my fanny pack. Hold on.
What's in the fanny pack? Like, how much is the fanny pack? Like, does he keep all of his belts in the fanny pack?
Well, I don't know what he keeps in there, but I do know that it is, in part, a thing of mystery that many people are concerned about. We've got Hangman Page coming up now, out to the ring, which means that we are about to get a new match. Meanwhile, over on NXT, we're getting some replays. So, Mike, what is it that you would like to see tonight? Is there anything that you would like to make as a wild prediction for this evening?
Like, what's gonna make this super memorable? You would have to bring back like a big star, right? Like the scuttlebutt is like Jack Swagger is gonna come out for. Oh shit, my fault. Jack Swagger is gonna come out for AEW, but nobody's gonna care. I mean, they're gonna they care about maybe a Bellator.
I thought you didn't read any spoilers.
When did I say that?
You said it earlier.
Just because you assume that I don't read?
No, I literally asked you. I didn't say hey, moron, what did it feel like when you went to detention and couldn't read? No, I just said, hey.
But listen, I know that shit's implied though with your tone and the way Has Pac been in a ring here this whole time? My NXT feed went out.
I'm sorry. We have a split. They just showed the Outsiders in the very inside company. So you have Hall and Nash. For a split second, my brain couldn't figure out which feed they were on because I was like, are we really doing WCW again? Is that what's happening? I'm very confused.
Wait, they show the Outsiders on NXT?
Yes.
Why? In the crowd?
In the crowd, which is, for a split second, for any of us who lived through a real wrestling war back in the day, that was real. That was real, kids. All war.
I like how. Okay, so that's funny that you asked me what was I expecting. Like, is that? Did they think that was going to be enough? You know what I mean? Like, we'll get them. Like, it'll be like '97. They'll be in the crowd and They should have just did a whole segment where Scott Hall just came out. Oh, fucking. I mean, because that's all he could really do at this point, right? Would be able to walk down with a cane and do the promo. They're not going to let him work.
They're just gonna he's basically just gonna make it out and be like, "Hey, yo, good night, everybody. Scott Hall out." Can I ask you this? We're at a place now where it might be okay to talk about this. Apparently, CM Punk has confirmed that he is exploring being a host on Fox's recap and analysis show of all things WWE SmackDown. What is your thoughts on that?
That's such a loaded thing, dude. It's kind of bittersweet almost. You kind of, how they're keeping it at arm's length. They're not really letting you tell anything. And then he's, of course, saying how if they asked him to wrestle, he would say no. But we all want to see him wrestle. And I really think the only thing that can make that happen, and there's a 10% chance of it with, me not reading spoilers and shit, that if they can do the Stone Cold CM Punk match, that's the only thing that they could possibly do. Yeah. And they would have to gift it in a WrestleMania main event, and it's just so not. I mean, the time has already run its course. I mean, CM Punk's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, but I feel dumb for wanting him to come back. I mean, it has that train just.
It's sailed, dude. I'm good. And you know what? If it would be glorious, because right now is the time you got to come back if you're gonna come back, because age is not a forgiving mistress, especially for the world of professional wrestling. So if he was looking to do that, I would suggest, come back now, dude, and just do it. But maybe that's the whole point of just the playing down expectations so that he can come back.
Oh, look at HBK. Do you really want to see HBK do anything else? That's what's cool about NXT. Now while we were talking about that, you got a young Johnny Gargano who's absolutely been the face of NXT. Felt like he's been there for years, which he has. I mean, that's kind of who they need to put their money on. And then here we go with Shane Thorne. He's young and hungry, and they're doing a good job repackaging him. But I think it's more in their interest to put these guys over than do this whole Saudi Arabia thing every fucking time.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I know. I was trying to explain this to, I think, my sister, where I go, yeah, it's kind of weird when they, just throw Saudi money at them in the WWE. They basically made a character come back that was just I don't want to come back, and they go, Saudi money rain. Yay.
So, no, it's just this whole Team Hogan and Team Flair. It's just a 3-hour meeting of WWE going at E, just we can't, listen, they can't wrestle anymore. I don't know what we can't have Hogan versus Flair. Can we just put them, look, I'll tell you, we'll just have them be captains of a team. 1 million less. Fine, fuck. We'll take the 1 million less. You guys will see them.
That anybody in there was hey, has anybody thought about the fact that Survivor Series is literally 2 weeks later?
Yeah, but they don't do it anymore. They should just show a replay of Hogan. What was the three of us? Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow. He was a good guy. Shit, I think it was Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow, Coco Beware, Ken Patera, and Mr. Wonderful.
That sounds about right. Just to remind you guys, as we were going along here, since Mike can't see some of these things, I'm just going to show you things that I'm picking up from the use of the hashtag. This one is quite amusing maybe to some baseball fans who also love wrestling, but I at least had a chuckle with it.
I love baseball!
Well, no, but you can't watch it. You're not supposed to be looking. You already looked at spoilers. You're not giving any more spoilers, but I enjoy this.
You can't do spoilers on baseball, sir.
Well, I'm not doing a spoiler baseball. That's not my thing. I don't really want to do that. So in this it says wrestling fans. Do you see the meme now?
No, I don't know how to use Skype. I'm very computer illiterate.
I didn't show it on Skype, so we'll go ahead and move from there. But anyway, we will be keeping you up to date with several of the memes that just make me laugh enough, that I think are funny enough. If somebody made memes about Mike in the future, I would just show him and he wouldn't be able to see them. It does get confusing. I will tell you this, though, Mike. Over the weekend, I actually made a reference, because, again, production. We made reference to the fact that there was, additional production that was used for an event that has struggled in the past with some kind of production. And I ended up saying that, you know what they should have had? A real production is Andre the Giant getting carted in a little mini ring via vehicle back to the stage. And I actually showed the footage, and they had me take it down. Now, this is because I'm on the Grappling Hour login for the YouTube page and not Verbal Tap, because in the past when I've shown something from Verbal Tap, since I'm an affiliate, they just go like, oh, we'll just take your money. Since Grappling Hour isn't an affiliate yet, they were like, yeah, we're not going to allow this to stand. And I had to re-put it up, and it made me so angry. That's it. That's my story, everybody. I just wanted you guys to feel my pain. I had to re-fucking edit. You know how long it took me to re-edit this? Like,
that's not even like a first world problem. What kind of like world of a problem would that even?
Yeah, I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand that just making the reference for Andre the Giant and being like, I would like to share this with people. And it's not even fucking the WWE page I got it from. I literally just was on my phone and I said, hey, look, here it is. And the WWE's like, no. And I was like, well, I guess I'm rooting for AEW this week, bitches.
Well, doesn't that give you some kind of sense of like accomplishments where they're like, yeah, they paid attention and rejected. Like I got ceased and desisted.
They future endeavored me without ever having hired me, so that was fun.
Man, this isn't your month. We're 2 days into it, dude.
This is literally the beginning of the Friends song.
You sound like me, and nobody likes that. I mean. You can look like me, and that would be a.
No, I'm good on all fronts. Let's go ahead and take a look at this other very adorably dressed up meme, where Homer Simpson is a huge fan of AEW apparently in this one. So good for him. Whoever drew that, it's very nice, or whoever just added it on. It might have just been logoed on. Hard to say.
See, I need That's lazy.
What's lazy?
That Homer Simpson meme.
You didn't like it?
Well, I mean, it's just. So I was trying to I can hear the feed. I was just gonna try to Photoshop like one of the Young Bucks onto a WWE ice cream bar, knowing that the idea was so good in my head when I stripped over. It's like, oh, they'll reshare this and shit. They'll respond to me. But yeah, that's all that is.
This is the photo of the Outsiders, Hall and Nash, just sitting in the audience over at Full Sail. And so I thought you guys might enjoy that, just for that juxtaposition of what we've seen before and what we are hopefully not going to see them replicate, because we've seen that before.
Scott Hall looks really good.
Yeah, he does.
Considering, I mean...
Scott Hall looks like that grandpa that you don't really call anymore, but you should probably go visit in the home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to know if... I hope he has pants that... I just kind of see him wearing like some flannel pajama pants with that turquoise... that turquoise jacket.
Hard to say.
So is there... Okay, so Pac... did Pac hang himself a little bit just with all his shenanigans and not being around and stuff? Because I don't really see... I feel like we have the same thing going on both shows right now. We got four good wrestlers going on.
Well, also four very kind of submission-oriented, or at least 2.5.
But nobody really, it's kind of, that's when you said, like, what's it going to take for this to be hot? I think the fact...
No. There's a meme that I
Ooh, that was choppy.
All right, here's the meme I've got for you, and I apologize for nothing. If we have to take this one down because of this, I stand by it, but here we go. It's probably going to take you a minute to see it, so... All right.
Yeah, but there's no heat to any of this. That's what I was saying. There's the fact that we get a bunch of wrestling today, I think, is the cookie in the lining.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see. I also this photo,
oh boy,
I told you.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous, but it's how can you not laugh at it?
Yeah, no, when it hits your eyes visually, it's just a lot. You
I
know
also
what
have to
mean?
say this whole like the Fiend giving this like, hey, what's up, guys? Basic bitch pose is so funny to me.
Are you? Well, he can't duck lips.
So
They can't. That's the thing. That's my only thing. Like the mask. We know everybody knows it's a mask.
yeah.
I mean, I like it. I kind of think it's cool, but it's a mask. And Seth Rollins is like crying himself to sleep every time. Hangman Page, it's strong. Oh, see, I can't ever.
You were talking a little bit about the look of the new studio. I thought it was better with the color bars, and this one kind of cracked me up earlier in the week. And I think it really gave you a display. Now, most people would laugh at just the display of it, but I couldn't help but laugh at like the actual small addition that they put in here. I mean, here's the good news. I feel in this exchange, the Gargano match is garnering a little bit more of my attention. Are you in the same boat?
Yeah. NXT's production is always going to win. Yeah, I don't. Did they do that for? Okay, so you see the curve on the stage. Is that for just like utter? Because I had to build a sound wall, I used to work at this warehouse where they had a bunch of space and they wanted to turn this room into a soundstage, this warehouse into a soundstage for Jay Leno's garage. And we had to make a sec wall, but it went up like that. It had like a lip everywhere up on the top. It had a lip. And I'm wondering if that's for certain shooting aspects of it. I'm not really technical with that stuff. Or is it because at that point it just looks like somebody can slide down it, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little tough to really navigate on that one. I think it's supposed to have a little bit of versatility where they can make, as you're walking out, there to be LCD projection that kind of accompanies you. So I feel like it may be used for a little bit more versatile things in the future. It's like when they had for TJP at the very beginning when they were making him a superhero and they had that floor light up. I thought, oh, that's pretty dope. Who else is really getting that? And there aren't a ton. So maybe they might bring it back to kind of give that more mystique and awe kind of vibe.
Becky's pyro really scared me though a little bit. I don't know what that was. It was just like looked like they just had like a real like souped up dry ice machine. I don't know if like she was haunted or I didn't even know if it was pyro. It looked really strange. So is pyro enough?
I'm not a huge, again, Pyro and I are just kind of like whatever. So
you and Pyro have a weird relationship. What the fuck is that?
We do. I just don't typically care about Pyro. Half the time I
don't.
love Pyro.
You got real Italian when you're talking about the Pyro. What did the Pyro do to your family, Raf?
Pyro lost a member with Pyro in my family. We don't speak about it much, but they died.
Did you do fireworks in your backyard when you were growing up?
No, because we had fucking lives. Here's what happened.
Ew! Fucking ew!
What would you mean? No, here's what happens. Okay, can I tell you my whole thing on fireworks? The whole thing I have on fireworks is I see one firework
pyro.
Off. Same thing. When I look at it, I do the same thing with fireworks I would with pyro. You know what it is? You look at one, you go, okay. And then it happens continuously for about another 4 to 7 to 8 to 10 minutes, and you go, I've seen it.
Yeah,
is that in the shape of a moon? Oh, very. Oh, it's a star! Yay!
This might be the off thing to say right now, but my dad said the same thing about boobs.
Oh well. I guess since we have a moment, where are you on this opposite of Rusev Day angle that they're doing at this point?
Oh, it reminds me of that Steve Carell movie with what's that fucking guy's name?
Gosling? Ryan
Gosling, where he's just sitting at the bar, cuckold. I don't know, but why is it so? Because Maria came out and said it wasn't the father, that Rusev wasn't the father. So is this like revenge or here? And too, not to be off kilter, like the dad joke bombed, but I really was watching Monday Night Raw with somebody with a female, with somebody that hasn't watched wrestling. It was probably her second time she ever viewed wrestling, and she caught bit of the Bobby Lashley part coming out, and the comment out of her mouth is that, not to say the words, but that she would hook up with Bobby Lashley over Rusev.
Uncalled for, unnecessary.
But it was really aggressive. She even made like a ooh noise about Bobby Lashley. I mean, that's a very specific taste in.
Maybe she likes milk duds. How do you not know these things?
Fucking say it. Just say it. That she's a bit. Would she think Big E's too rough at that point then?
I don't know. I know one thing, which is I see Bobby Lashley and I just go, you were made in a lab and you're weird and I don't know what to do with you. And I guess you should be wrestling because I really can't think of anything else for you to do. And yeah, sure you did, little MMA and that's fine and all. But I do want to comment on this. I thought this was actually pretty cool to see the integration. The synergy is very strong with TNT and Warner. So I have a lot of respect for the way that they're playing it. I mean, just the animation that they were able to combine between American Dad and Chris Jericho actually was a fairly entertaining bulk between the two.
Well, it just tells you that how serious they are about it. And that's why I was like, when you showed The Simpsons to me, and I was like, wait, The Simpsons are on Fox. Like, that would make more sense for that to be. I think
that was a fan that made this one, or that one. This one is a little bit more.
Right.
Company synergy at its finest, one might say.
Well, shouldn't that be? Doesn't Disney own WWE at this point?
No, I believe that they're keeping their sports
separate. Okay.
Yeah. They sold all of their entertainment entities, which, by the way, I am appreciating the fan reactions of people like. Do you think that marks are a little bit more self-aware where they're just like doing this now and like looking like, is somebody gonna meme me? My mind.
Oh shit! Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off. That was devastating, dude. He did his little flipping yellow cutty to the small of his back. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was rough. No, but that memes is almost like social collateral at this point, right?
Yeah.
I like girls are into memes too. Like that's the new like pickup line would be like a funny meme.
So is that what you're doing now? You're just going up and being like,
no, I was just about to say, which I have.
How you doing? Have you seen this one today?
Well, big ups to, speaking of which, big ups to Candy finally getting her spot 12 years fucking later. And to think if you would have told Shayna Baszler, because we always used to see Shayna at PWG.
Yeah.
She'd hang out with Alan, and she was really, really big. She was really way into PWG, and I know she was into Candy, but to tell her, like, oh, yeah, you guys are going to be wrestling for the belt on the biggest Wednesday Night War here in about a couple years. It's been pretty hard to... It took Candy a while to get out of the gate. I'm really happy. That's one of my favorite things going on right now is Candy getting her shine time. I really think there might be a belt change right now. I think that's going to be what would make it good, dude, would to have Johnny Gargano come out and turn on her. That would be something to really build today if they want to make something.
Agree.
If they want to make something real memorable, I don't think there's been a real big heel.
Sorry. This meme also got to me too. See, this is what we have to do to even keep up with this. You guys are so initiated with so many different things that happen on all of the streaming channels that we also have to come up with eye candy for you to look at on occasion. I mean, many of these are making me laugh. But
as you can only look at this eye candy for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's real good eye candy. Somebody told me, it's like, when you can see your shoulder blades, like the bone in your shoulder blades, that means your chest is underdeveloped. It's like, thanks, I appreciate that.
I don't even know if you'd say something like that. Be like, hey, Braj, how your traps doing? Yeah, your treesies need to get into there.
I'm a runner. I run, okay? I run. My cardio is excellent. Poor Dominic.
Yeah.
He's like the new butt machine. Okay, listen. Now, are we at a lull right now?
Yes.
Because I feel like AEW only has so many so many comfortable spots they can pull with being like, okay, we know Dr. Britt Baker, and we know that, but like we need something, some kind of surprise, something fresh. I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you think it would take for this to be hot fire, Dylon, 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 and Dylon?
At this moment right now, I don't know. Again, this is all an experiment right now. I'm a huge fan of the way they are playing the different colors. The stage has been very versatile, so I'm a fan of that. I actually really like the two screens that they got going on with like whoever's doing their creative work on that. It seems to be really, really fun.
Instead of the one screen.
Yeah, there's something like just visually on the design where it pulls you out a little bit more. Like everything's so centralized focus and just being in like this little part here where they always figure the TV screen goes like this. I feel like creating this larger frame makes it so that as they finally get to the ring, you get this like perspective of foreground and background. So I think that's a really cool thing.
Like for say, like if they had a tag team that really didn't like mesh, like Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, you can have them come in. You could utilize that. You could have them come in through the different tunnels and have, I don't know, both screens almost playing different things. Having their title with the run.
Well, this is also interesting. I mean, we talked about just the similarities between the two. Now we're in two women's matches at the exact same time.
Noted. And it's such a contrast of everything. You got Candy, who's one of the best women wrestlers in the world forever. You got the upstart dominant champion, Shayna Baszler, who's been fresh out of the game. You got this throwback to Japanese wrestling that nobody really knows about unless you're like the smartest mark ever. Then you got the first openly transgender woman, that they're probably going to put the strap on right now, I would assume. I mean, that's such a good vehicle. I mean, whether anybody's views are, it doesn't matter because that's their views. But that's such a good vehicle to be able to put something like that over. That squirrel needs to have six packs, though.
I mean, you can't have it all, dude. We all can't be Finn. As many times as Douglas James may try to make himself like that. Like, what a great moment of being like, oh, you remind me of Finn Balor and his abs, and then Douglas being like, how many times have you said that? I want to bring that up again for you guys. Did you guys not hear it in the back? Because I'll bring it up again.
I legitimately said that's like one of the first things I accidentally said to him, but it was about his wrestling style. And so, but Doug looks great, man.
That's not the way he heard it.
I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm super happy for Doug.
Yo, I got to cut you off right now. This is so great. They're promoting one championship. This is something that I was talking about a little bit ago where I said you're going to find some synergy there where they're promoting that with this audience right here. I love that. One has been doing a really good job and pulls in these really massive worldwide numbers. So for an MMA organization to kind of like know, like, all right, let's put our eggs in one basket. I think that's really dope.
Well, I'm saying that's why the Jack Swagger thing would it be them trying to do the whole cross promotion of Bellator because they're real big on. I mean, they know that they can have their hats in a bunch of different arenas. It doesn't have to be one. It can be Bellator. It can be all the, I don't know, all the.
Let's be clear. At this point, they really want anybody watching them. So it's not.
Right. What was it? But especially for an alternative and to cross over. But then do they go get like what the WWE is going to do and have Kane and Brock Lesnar? I mean, do they get what's their crossover? Ken Shamrock, you know what I mean? Do they run then are they going to run the cusp of doing, like Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock or run Bonner and Griffin or actually host a one fight in their ring would be kind of cool.
I couldn't tell you on that one. I can only tell you this, that one of the things that is interesting about the way that they've kind of pieced all this together is the fact that that was an interesting spot on NXT over on that side. One of the things I can tell you is that Brock Lesnar is an anomaly. That's a hard thing to replicate. So it's not like even if you do grab a Jack Hager or a Jack Swagger to come in. It's not like he's going to replicate what Brock Lesnar does. You just kind of hope he gets you some hype now that he's got a couple wins in a big organization that's the number 2, maybe 3 fighting organization. It's hard because ONE FC has worldwide numbers, but Bellator is a very, very dominant presence here in the States.
Well, here's the thing. I've never heard of ONE, and I'm your casual MMA guy. You're kind of, like you said, you went to the best indie MMA show ever this last weekend.
Yeah, well, I didn't go to it. I guess I'll say that. I was a little busy. No, I think it's pretty interesting to see what they did, just in terms of like how we're trying to compete with production and make things interesting and exciting. Like I just see the way the crowd's even lit as a result of these lights, and I just think like, man, how cool does that look? Like they had to black out most of the seat lighting just to show that they didn't sell out, and even though they try to say that they did, they didn't.
Well,
so
Raw has to do that.
Well, but here's the thing, dude. I worked in audiences. When I worked with Leno, I can tell you right away how many of those seats were ever sold at any given time. Not sold, but were free show. How many of them were ever used? And there's ways that you can get around showing a full audience. But like, you know, what's one thing the internet loves more than anything with WWE is that when they go, oh, the SmackDown didn't sell out. And then on the flip side, what's one thing that the internet loves more than anything else? When we get sad and look at like Impact Wrestling not selling out more than 300 tickets because they go, ooh, look how many people didn't show up. And then you just look at it and you go, oh, looks terrible. You just feel bad for them. Just to let you guys know, Mike cut out for a split second, so we're going to do our best to get him back on the stream. I think he'll just probably jump in at some point. But this is a great reminder to tell you guys, if you're not following us at Real Heel Section, that's RealHeelSection. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. We occasionally do that. And we would really hope that you guys follow us on YouTube. That'd be really dope because we have a lot of stuff that we go ahead and promote from those areas. And now that we're in that process of having what one might say the Raw War or the Wrestling Wars, we're definitely hoping that you guys will have more opportunities to see us doing fun things like this. This is the first night that Mike's ever had his webcam, so we're very excited to see what that holds in the future for us. So just to make sure that you guys are up on everything, we will keep you as up to date on when we are doing more and more episodes. And in case you're wondering, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been tuning into the Grappling Hour. It's been a lot of fun. We just celebrated 1 year today of the Grappling Hour. And I would be doing a show today, but I just had the whole ADCC experience. So giving a little bit of a break, and we'll be back next year to commemorate 2 years of that. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can go ahead and grab Mike in a few more minutes. Looks like his connection is still down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and send him a note. See if he's around there and kind of move on from there. I will also be taking any of the questions that you guys have in the comment section. We've been doing a pretty good job of making this as interactive as possible. We have over here Joe Wright, who said, "Sup, Mike, checking in from Austin." Well, we appreciate you, Joe. I will definitely pass that on to Mike when we get him back on the stream. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them our way. We're definitely making a good use of all things wrestling at this moment. So, a few things to consider as we kind of move on and start to move through the different sets of wrestling. You're seeing again over on NXT, they're doing a split screen between their commercial breaks. It's really going to be, I think, the telling aspect of how they're going to go ahead and integrate their branding into their whole product presentations. We've already seen Cracker Barrel play a huge role in the elements that they've been putting together for AEW. So it'll be very interesting to see how they continue to do that. I don't think you're going to quite see the same thing from NXT, but considering that we're only in the first couple weeks of it and that money talks, the WWE's never been opposed to doing weird stunts, aka the Colonel. So we'll see. Over on this side, There's a reversal. Shayna Baszler was going for her rear naked choke, or as they call it, the Coney clutch, or whatever they make fun of or do that given week, as long as they can't call it a choke, just to let you know. You think the close of the show is AEW showing a new faction with Sammy G, LAX, and Hager? Maybe. I mean, I haven't fully seen it. I've just kind of read that Swagger was there. It'll be interesting to see how they use him. Swagger's kind of made a pretty good impact over on Bellator, but he's wrote a nice line of, hey, I want to kind of keep my feet wet on both sides, especially on the underside for wrestling. Let's hope so. I really hope that they use him well, because he's had really weird promos he's cut after his MMA fights that have led me to believe, like, yeah, he does want a bigger role in this world. So that's a great question. That seems very likely just given the players at hand. But I think once I get to actually see it in person or on video in a minute, I'll have a better idea. I try to keep it as reactionary as possible, even though I saw some of the spoilers just by reading things on the internet today. That is going to be, I think, the hardest part about whatever wars we're going into now, which is, when I was a kid, there was no way I would know what would happen. The internet wouldn't put up your spoilers. Now, I can't even barely look through anything without seeing a meme that tells me what the hell happened. Didn't watch the NXT show, but saw the YouTube highlights. More main roster WWE guys making the move to NXT like Finn. Who would you like to see go back to NXT? I mean, honestly, dude, seeing Kevin Owens, seeing Johnny Gargano. I think Johnny Gargano is... I couldn't quite figure out how they were going to implement him unless they were going to give him the full Shawn Michaels treatment over in the main roster side. So, that's a good question. I would love to see... Let's see. Well, they're already talking about Rush. That's somebody I wasn't, like, hankering to see, but hopefully it allows him to perform a little bit better onto his side. It's interesting. We're almost getting two ends of matches at the almost exact same times. If a regular casual audience member is watching this right now, they may just be like, why is Lizzo's sister really angry at this Asian chick? Finn going back makes sense. I wonder if going forward they're going to kind of play with this idea of checking to see who's roster worthy or who gets in the best plugs for all things. It's kind of difficult. I wonder if they're going to also maybe implement Ronda back on, say, Raw or SmackDown. And if that becomes something that's important, then does that kick somebody else back down? Like, does Sasha go back down to NXT and do something like that? So, I don't know. It's a very interesting question. And I think we'll see a little bit of integration between the brands just so that they can go ahead and keep us guessing. Because that's the hard part. Keeping any of us guessing at this day and age, almost near impossible. Good question, Joe. Over on the other side, though, it is interesting. I mean, we are starting to get more and more numbers up. Just in terms of MMA stars, Shayna Baszler is famously on The Ultimate Fighter. Of course, you've also got, let's see, Jack Swagger now making his way into it. Brock Lesnar, obviously one of the biggest ones. Bobby Lashley, all of these major players utilizing their MMA backgrounds. Did I forget Matt Riddle? How could you ever forget him? So there's a lot of different things that I think we're kind of seeing how they interact. We've got 35 minutes left to go, and I heard that there was going to be some overlay on one of the streams. And of course, seeing Stephanie McMahon, the issue I have with ever showing Stephanie McMahon is that you should never show her without her going up to slap somebody. I think the Stephanie McMahon slap is one of the best commodities you could ever ask for. And I completely forgot Hell in a Cell is this Sunday, if I'm being quite honest. So, if you guys get the opportunity to go and check that out, that's cool. I might take this one off, if I'm being honest. All right. I think that's an interesting one to see over that way, too, because you've also got The Fiend and Seth Rollins, which they've been leading toward a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if they let some of these storylines also play for a little bit longer. just if I'm guessing, just to kind of simmer. Because I don't think they'll be done with that storyline just right then and there. But of course, you've got Becky and Sasha, which will be an interesting match on its own. The overlay is going over on AEW just to make sure if you guys are not watching it live yourselves. It's a lot to take in just between the difference between the two different sets. And I'm very happy for my good friend Nigel McGuinness. I've trained a little bit of jiu-jitsu over with him over here in Los Angeles. He's a very nice guy. I haven't seen him since all of this picked up, but he couldn't be nicer in person. It was really funny to me where I was like, none of these people know who he is. And I couldn't help but think, I was like, are you really in here? Like, it's really dope. Very stand-up dude. So, very interesting to see how that plays out as well. And then I guess, is this just going to become the de facto NXT? You know, are we going to get UK members kind of coming in and out too? So, I mean, it makes sense that the UFC, or not the UFC, the WWE was like, let's kind of close down this whole, 205. I think we're good. And has there ever been somebody in professional wrestling who's been pushed with a more basic name than just Walter? Yo, how are we going to put this guy over? I don't know. His name's Walter. Dope. Let's run with that. Walter. I got into a conversation about that one day with one of my friends, and we just couldn't help but look at it and be like, how's a dude named like Walter's the dude that you see at your local Denny's that you just go, what's up, Walter, how you doing, boss, as opposed to the dude who runs the UK aspect of professional wrestling. So I do appreciate that they make them stand underneath their names. I think that's really important staging whenever you get to put that together. But you've got Kushida versus Walter that will happen next week live on NXT. Meanwhile, I can't tell. Did my stream cut out for a split second? Getting real close over on the side with AEW. I've learned a lot from AEW tonight, and mostly in the sense that I'm just kind of trying to figure out what are they going to do, how are they going to do it, and what is their goal. I'm looking to go ahead and implement my good friend Mike Stallings back in as soon as he gets his internet back up. So thank you for being so patient with us over on this side. It has been a great day for us over on our side of the world. I mean, it's always nice when you get a lot more wrestling to go ahead and plug back into the world and into the universe. Pete Dunne is making his way into the ring as we speak. If you were watching this delayed a little bit later and you were wondering who and what this is at Real Heel Section, a group of buddies, or aka just a duo, who met, oh my god, is it a decade ago? Jesus Christ. About a decade ago at WrestleMania 36. God, we're old. Everything's just fucking flew by. But yes, we met over about 10 years ago and decided to go ahead and do a podcast based on professional wrestling a few years ago after I just said, I've got so much stuff that I talk about on Verbal Tap and for Grappling on the Grappling Hour. I got to maybe make something a little bit separate just so that you guys can get to hear my thoughts on nights like this where we've been waiting for such a long time to see professional wrestling make its return to being a war between two huge organizations. We wish them well. I mean, it's going to be great news for us to go ahead and watch and enjoy everything that we've wanted to in the past few years that we have been missing out on sorely. I don't know about you guys. Do you miss WCW? I guess that's a good thing to ask at this point, because at a certain moment, when you kind of get through the fact that we've been living for so many years without a Nitro, I don't even know if there are certain kids who are just seeing this and can really truly understand what it felt like to go ahead and week in and week out try and switch between the two. That era is lost on so many. And yet for us here, now being so old that we're just like, I guess we can go ahead and watch it now on two different streams and make the best of it. These kids, they're so young. They don't even know. That's a nice armbar transition by One Pete Dunne, by the way. And of course, going over into a cripplet crossface. These are very important moves to use in all of your jiu-jitsu training, my friends. I would know. I've done it quite frequently in my time. I mean that. Half the time I'm training with somebody, I will try to hit these moves. Because jiu-jitsu is dumb. JK, I love jiu-jitsu. But the hard part is people get really pissed when you hit a professional wrestling move. If you hit a sharpshooter or a Boston Crab, people are like, what? Here's something interesting to note. Now they're starting to show a lot more of the crowd over on AEW. I want to make it clear, though, it's not like we're saying this is happening because of one another. It just doesn't hurt that there are some coincidences. And I think crowd interaction is really important in helping sell major elements of the show. Of course, a suplex that gets stalled straight into the ring post for one Pete Dunne. And underneath, we have crowned a women's champ, and they have already become meme ready. You know what's interesting? I've been listening a lot to the 83 Weeks podcast. Not because I feel like I need to hear Eric Bischoff get himself over, but I'm just intrigued at the business angles of the podcast, where Bischoff is explaining in so many words why he made so many of the decisions he did when he was in charge of WCW. And it's fascinating because it's both a mixture of the kayfabe that we already know and love, while at the same time telling you some of the practical reasons. For example, making sure that some of the wrestlers never actually touched until a pay-per-view, but like they would always be right next to each other and they would build that anticipation. That whole thing that they would do, as opposed to really going nuts and showing a whole brawl that would happen leading into the pay-per-view, was based on market research. They basically did the same kind of market research that they do for movies and television that I'm used to in that world, and they would find those Q ratings. And from there, once they would figure that out, they'd say, oh, you know, audiences tend to like this or they don't like this. And so he was saying that part of the reasons why he would put those people together and get them real close, but they would wait to actually have them go against each other at the pay-per-view, was based on the people saying that. Much in the same way they said that those responders, their audiences, were so much clamoring just to see those individuals who were big guys who would go at each other. And so you had Bischoff basically saying, he's like, listen, it's not always my thing to go ahead and put these monsters against each other, but that's what the audience wants sometimes. And if you really think to the core audience of what I'm sure was the heartland that would really pull a little bit more toward the South-based WCW, kind of makes sense. Oh my goodness. We have a powerbomb. A very scary powerbomb, by the way. That almost did not clear. I'm not okay with a not cleared powerbomb. At least nobody gets hurt here. So that's good. Boof. If I was smarter, and I probably would have put more time into this, I probably would have counted the amount of commercial time between the two different things that are happening here. Kenny Omega coming to break up the action, pushing and shoving them around. It's very interesting to see where chivalry is dead in professional wrestling, because we were raised never to raise our hand to a woman, but it's kind of hard to do that when you have intergender mixed matches. It's all the rage, but according to the reports, Kenny Omega is very much taking a hands-on report and job and making sure that the women's division is well taken care of. They're already starting to push their next one, and I forgot what AEW's next pay-per-view is, but I believe here it's being promoted as November 9th. So All Elite Wrestling is called Full Gear. That's the name of it. At this point, they're basically just video game names. Have you guys played AEW Full Gear? No. But I will say, we used to get really excited when the UFCs created separate names for every one of their events. And my wife was famously in charge of saying, like, man, I really wish that one of the UFCs would just go : explosion. I never took her up on that one. Now they just go by numbers, which, lame. Anyway, I think I want to hear what the gate is. I'm wondering if they're going to end up doing a post-presser at the end of this one like they've been doing for a number of the different events. So, kind of wondering if you'll see a Tony Khan speaking to the press at the end of the night on the biggest night there is. I don't imagine they would be doing this every week, but Maybe they do. Who knows? And of course, I think this is the biggest marketing tactic of them all. This is one of the biggest question marks for the whole show, which is, how do you promote a show that will not get the numbers that the Young Bucks get on Being the Elite? I think those episodes do in at least the millions, maybe a couple millions. AEW as a whole will not. Those days of ratings are over. I mean, if you look at what's happening over on network television, those numbers are so long gone, and it's so sad. But in this particular world, it is pretty interesting to see. I'm imagining this might get us about a 0.6 in the ratings. If it pulls out a 0.6, I think that's a huge win for a cable show that's a sports one, and I think that holding that rating is really good. So we'll see. If I'm guessing, I would love to see it pull about 7,500,000. Of course, these are just soft numbers. Who knows what the debut comes in at, and who knows what they're able to pull consistently. Those are just numbers I'm guessing at. If I'm just putting a weird sort of bet on it all. But having said that, the reason I bring it up is because you look at, and I'm just going to go over here, and I want you guys to see what I'm seeing when you type in Being the Elite. Because if you type in Being the Elite and you just look at their top numbers, we're looking at how they were able to sell this from the business perspective. Because they were able to convince people like, yo, this is a thing that people want to tune into. Being the Elite. I want to see how they were able to market this, because we're talking about what different things called a vertical. So let's here right now. I want you guys to go ahead and come with me. I'm going to go ahead and turn down, so I hope you don't mind. I'm actually not going to use any of the sounds over this way, so that we don't get, mocked or sued. But let's take a look at a few numbers right over here. The first of which is being, look at the fact that they have 398,000 subscribers. That's not bad. Let's look at the total amount of views. The total amount of views for this channel, which started February 18, 2016, is 44 million. So to me, you have a product that is essentially a popular web series that then somehow got enough interest to garner an entire organization based on the properties of the individuals involved. But when I look at these numbers, I always say, what are your top performing videos? So let's go to their most popular. If you look at their most popular video, it comes in at Backstage at Double or Nothing, Being the Elite, which barely just cracks $1 million. So if you take that into consideration, if that is the ceiling before we get into marketing or anything else that could possibly be put into the equation, you are hoping that you're able to take some of this audience and have it carry over. And it'll be interesting to see if this stays on TNT. I still haven't even seen TNT, what is it, AEW on TNT. I haven't even seen if they have this set up. All Elite Wrestling, okay. So let's check their vertical. Interesting. All Elite Wrestling, and this is where things get a little murky, All Elite Wrestling also has about 428,000 episodes. Huh. Okay. Or 20,000 subscribers. Let's look at their numbers. Let's go ahead and see. Sort by most popular. Most popular will then get you on over to 733,000, and that's the Pac versus Hangman Page match. And then if you look at AEW Fyter Fest buy-in, so that's the show that leads into it. These are interesting numbers for a number of reasons, but you know who might be able to help us break down some of these numbers? Our good friend Senor Mike Stallings, who you might see on that.
Okay.
All right, Mike Stallings is returned back on air right now. So Mike,
the finish of that Chicks match was cool.
Yeah, did you like that?
Yeah, it was good. I didn't expect her to win.
So go ahead and move this down this way. All right. When Mike comes back in on video, we should be able to go ahead and plug him back in.
God damn it. It's fucking garbage.
So, all you have to do is press the video button on yours.
Okay.
We were just talking about the business angle of this whole thing, which is an interesting conundrum in the sense that we're trying to see what the ceiling is for this organization. This is an organization that right now, along with being the elite, run at about 400K. So if you were guessing on ratings, what do you think that AEW is going to pull?
Do ratings, Matt? So do ratings equal money or what?
Yes.
Well, I mean, the advertising's there already. I don't. A mil? There's baseball on though right now, so I don't think any. Well, I would think like a couple million, right?
No.
What's good? Good? No.
I'm guessing right now, if I'm putting it out there, I said about 750,000, and I said if they pull a 0.6, that would be amazing for cable numbers. But I'll go one step further, and I'll say that I think the real key for them to do it, and why it's such a kick in the dick from the WWE, is that I think they're just trying to win the 18 to 34 demographic. If they can pull in those numbers by and large, they will go ahead and justify their entire existence. Because I think the thing is, WWE putting NXT on that night is supposed to be the one that draws and skews to that little bit older, but just that right market that I think is so hard to completely reach all the time. So I think that's why it was one of the boldest and shrewdest moves by the WWE, just to begin with.
Do DVR like recordings count? Like, is there a way to measure? Is there a way to measure that?
So what they do is they call that live plus 3, and then so there's live plus 1, which means did you watch it the next day? Live plus 3, did you watch it within 3 days? And then live plus 7. A lot of TV has shifted to live plus 7. However, for this purposes, tomorrow it's going to be who drew yesterday night. And I think those ratings will be available somewhere at about 1 or noon. They usually come out at 10 a.m. for the main networks, but it just depends on if they include them there or not.
Oh, it's got to be so much harder to keep track of that shit, considering like I'm watching it on PlayStation View, which is allowing me to have 2 different streams of both NXT and this right now. So it's got to be just hard to keep track. I mean, I'm sure in my brain it's a lot harder to understand, but yeah, it's a lot different these days. I would think more. I don't know. How many people are watching TV at all right now? You know, like cable TV. A lot of people are on their Netflix. A lot of people are on. So Hulu's a live plus 3 or something that counts as that.
I think what they end up doing is they have that is live plus 1 usually. I mean, I think they take it into compute with that. So there's also digital that they put into it as well when they do a score. But Nielsen's kind of tricky in that they haven't quite gotten the best way on how to digitize the ratings for if you're watching it on these different platforms.
So is just wrestling enough tonight? I mean, that was definitely the match of the night with the chicks, right?
Yeah, probably.
So are we just gonna get this? We're watching Kenny Omega try to come around Jericho, who's going to the Lion Tamer, come to the Buck super kick. Party. Oh, baby. Is that going to be enough if this is just like a clean finish, or the Luchas coming out and like, I don't like what's going to be the story tomorrow that it just happened?
The story is going to be who drew more. That's it.
No, but what's the story in kayfabe?
You're talking about what is the storyline that they're setting up here?
No, that's going to be the hot fire. Like, this is supposed to be fucking hot. Like, everybody on Friday is going to be talking about The Rock, no matter what the fuck he does, which is kind of weird because, you know, well, I don't know. The Brock Lesnar, do they bring Kane in on Friday?
Why not?
Oh, there it is right there. Boom. Gotcha. Right when I was talking about it. That's where the riff is. That might be. I don't know. I mean, because that was the rub on, like, do we have to have somebody come get his ass now?
It's a good question. But this is a nice little moment for Dean Ambrose, or John Moxley, if you would.
For staph infection medicine.
I just like the fact that he's in a point where they were like, oh, he's injured, he's really hurt, so you got to pull him off this. And so now you get to build that little bit of extra anticipation while you let him go do some crowd work in there. And I gotta say, Kyle O'Reilly is he's one of my favorite performers.
Kyle O'Reilly's always been solid. See, that's why it's awesome. That's why it's awesome that, I mean, social media helps him out so much because it's given him an avenue to be, like, have the air guitar gifts come out.
Oh, so fucking funny. Then, meanwhile, though, they haven't shown one shot of what's happening anywhere near the ring. So this is allowing them.
They just showed it. I don't know if you're. Yeah, they just barely showed a little snippet. I was just gonna say, what are they doing? Taking a nap? But this is gonna.
There's nothing funnier than using cleaning supplies to go ahead and attack
Well, he's
your
the
opponent.
He's the cleaner. He's got it. That's the whole. See, you don't watch Being the Elite, huh?
I just want to make it very clear
Look at he's cleaning.
to see, like, there's a janitor who's just really forgetful and doesn't put their equipment away. And then there's also the luxury seating area that, by the way, looks like it has to be the worst tickets ever. You can't see anything in this lounge.
What? They're super VI. They're super baller though.
It's like the concession. No.
What is this lighting? What is this red lighting?
I mean, they're in the red light district, so this is probably where they have, some of their special packages for audience members.
Am I behind you or something? Because what? Oh shit!
It just happened already, so I saw it before you did.
Oh my god, that's enough.
It's a pretty good moment there. That's a good way to cut to commercial, by the way.
Well, it's such a throwback to like a barbershop window or something that happened in that like cheesy ass lounge looking of a place where those VIP, where those plants were. That the setting kind of made that bump way better.
Yeah.
And the IKEA table.
Well, it's always great to be able to tell people, like, hey, everybody, just go ahead and chill out here. This is your VIP. No, it's John Moxley. Go away, you. This is for special people. No.
So, okay, so you're talking about budgets and stuff. So, Okay, so how much did that cost AEW, and how much would that have cost the WWF to pull that segment off? Like, as far as, like, the tables goes.
Yeah, okay. That's a good question. Really glad that we can go ahead and talk about it, because if I host a press conference, and I'm really glad that you asked that, at the end of the night, I just want to say it is really important that we go ahead and put that into what our budget is, because there's a lot of people who really like that. I remember once when I watched in New Japan, you saw the Ultimate Dragon once take a bump through a glass wall, and I said, "Oh my god, we gotta do that." And I told Cody, and I called him, and we did it for you guys.
I mean, I was like, "Do you want like all the money? Like how many millions? Like all the millions? Like any millions?" Have you ever watched Millions?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think it's called Millions, and it's really cool. And
I saw it on my DVR one time, and I was gonna record it. I saw that it was after.
I mean, listen, guys, I'll stay here all day to take questions from you guys, but like, you just got to know that like what I'm doing for you. I mean, it's so great, and I'm definitely not stressed. I'm not wearing the skinny tie at the end of the night just to give you guys what it is that you're asking for. But I think that was your question. I'm not really sure if I answered it. I hope it did, and if not, we can do this again next week. So now I'm going to take a question from an 11-year-old that everybody hates on the internet. Hey, kid, what's your problem?
Mr. Khan, do you even pay attention to the Jaguars anymore?
Yeah, definitely. Like they're still playing, right? It's football, right? So where are we? What month it is? Is it October? Yeah, no, it's all about baseball right now, and that's what it is. I mean, I love the Jaguars. I see 4 different Jaguars at my house all the time.
Kenny Omega is actually the starting quarterback next week. I don't even know. But,
he just gets all of his streams crossed, and then he just doesn't know what he's setting. He's like, Cody's now playing lead tackle.
Might as well. Shit.
I mean, if they're doing all that synergy, it may make some sense in there. I'll tell you guys this much. I am very much looking forward to playing Tony Khan at more press conferences in the future, because his whole, like, mannerisms of how his, like, hands go, it's like a reserved rich person's Mick Jagger.
What ethnicity is he? Like,
I don't know, dude.
Because I'm just waiting for him to be like, we have Mexicans.
I mean, you'd have to ask him. I don't feel comfortable enough speaking on his behalf for being like, yo, what kind of
you
race
don't
are you?
all of a sudden?
I don't know him. I don't know him in that way. I can tell you
like
goofy jokes about his inability to, like, talk without staring you in the eyes. I just like the idea of his ability, like, when he is doing this is like half of his that's his listening face, is always like, yeah, no, that's really cool. Thank you. That's a really good thing. I actually, if you notice, we're going to actually be passing out some, there's going to be some brochures that we're going to pass out. They have numbers on them. And then sometimes he looks like he's pained when he's being asked a question. It's just like, yeah, okay. No, okay. Thank you. That's really nice.
He kind of does always have this look on his face, like he's thinking about thinking. Like
Yeah.
He's not even sure kind of what to think about.
I think
I kind of identify with him, like, a lot, too.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know, man. I just sometimes...
What the fuck is that? Man, I identify with him a lot. I just don't know.
You know, I just sit there and wonder who this is, I mean, I'm happy with it, but I mean, that there's wrestling, but then again, am I gonna fall victim to the fuck? That was 2 hours, and half of it was my internet fucking going out and me cursing. And not really. What happened? I didn't get to see what happened with Candice LeRae and Shayna. Candy didn't win, did she?
No, they let Shayna continue.
Oh, that's good though.
I think they want to build her as this unbeatable for a little bit, and maybe it's going to be one of those moments where they build it a big show, where they wait for us to see what the ratings are, so that maybe they can then say like, "Oh fuck, let's just take it off her now."
I wish they would just have had Finn Balor come out after that too, just for like, who's gonna beat her? Like, is that when they bring Auska back for the demotion? Because what are they doing? They're not doing anything with her. That would be kind of like a believable.
Auska is available.
I think she's a web gamer now. I think she does the Twitch.
Hey, you know, it's a good business if you're watching us on Twitch. Hello.
I gotta figure out. Look, I don't see again. I don't know if I look at the camera. If I don't, if I
look at the camera. Always look at the camera. If you're watching this, like, I take a look down. I look here. I look to see what's going on, and then when I say something to the camera, I look back at you. So that way,
you do look at the camera.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't. But then I don't want to be like Jim. You know, like
It's not. No, you're talking to an audience. So the audience tends to like if you talk to them as opposed to going, "Hey, what's up, dipshits? I guess you're here. So some stuff's happening down this way." And
that's basically what I've been doing the whole time.
I know, and I'm glad we were able to talk about it now.
Well, Dick Jackson doesn't look like the guy that would be doing that kind of stuff, huh?
No.
Is that why they're so cool?
Maybe. And I think they're also at a place now where they just kind of figure, like, I don't know how long I can always do this for. Oh, that's a great spot.
Oh. It's very revival of them to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Not only is that a great spot, but I think it plays with the anticipation of how we're doing it. I mean, these guys are definitely giving you all that you can for your money in the very first main event of their existence. So props to them, dude.
Do they feel like stars right now?
I think they feel like stars we are building. I'm not sure to a made audience they'll still be like stars. I think to the people who are tuning in who are diehards, they're definitely like, yeah, we came in for the bucks. We came in for to see them crush it and do their thing.
You know who the real star of that was? What even mentioned was Rick Knox, the referee, PWG legend.
Oh no!
What happened?
Cody has run out to help his friends. What's gonna happen,
my
guys?
connection. Oh, who's he gonna? Oh, because. Oh, it's stupid Mohawk. Oh, how dare I say stupid Mohawk? Because that was what my. Yeah, I have real hair now. I used to wear a dumb Mohawk like.
The whole backstage gonna come out right now because, oh no, low blows all around everybody.
Yeah, of course. Everything is going on. All my internet is just shitting on me, of course, right now.
And of course, it's Jack Swagger who's showing up. Jack Swagger hitting, just a brutal power slam.
Is that what happened for real? And I'm sitting here. Come on.
I want to tell you something, Mike. You need to work more in live television. You need to work more in live television because this shit happens all the time. The best thing you could ever do is just roll with the punches and go with it. It's disappointing, but you're watching it now.
Oh, man, that power slam was awesome. Jack Swagger's on fire. Dude, Jack Swagger, look at him. Look at him. You see him? You see him? Jack Swagger's a man. Oh, look at that! Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That was oh, look at. But my NXT's like half buffering.
Well, the nice part about this is they had said that NXT was going to go on. I thought for 15 extra minutes for a run over tonight.
Well, Goldust just got run over, so that's how far behind I am right now.
And it looks like they're going to essentially finish with 2 minutes left to go on their TV taping time. There's definitely a moment where Jack Hager, and I'll call him Swagger for as long as I feel like, goes to fix his very, very well-kept hair. I mean, who does power slams like that and still keeps their hair in place? I ask you this.
It's very soap opera-y of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could go through like a thunderstorm and nothing would happen to their makeup or their hair. They're in their best dress just to have some coffee in the morning.
I have an appreciation for Cody wrestling earlier in the night and then putting on a suit. Obviously he didn't wear the jacket because things were going to happen. But it's pretty nice to see someone get dressed up to take such a massive beating at the end of this show. You know, it shows class. Well,
I mean, it's very Jack Donaghy of him. What am I? It's past 5, Lemon. What am I, raising a barn? Is this cool? This is a cool. Is this a faction? If this is a faction, I'm all about this.
We had somebody asking in the comment section. Your friend Joe was asking that very question.
Griffin?
I think it's Joe Wright.
Oh, Joe. I like Joe. Joe's fun. I miss that dude. Smart guy. He told me that he used to do this Buffalo Bills wrestling out here, and he was a demented friar.
Oh, that's so mean, Chris Jericho.
I want them to be what would the name of this faction be?
Let's see. Swag.
But with 2 G's.
It's just stuff we all get.
The J is silent. Ooh. Goldust just 63 years old and just taking bumps like a
kid on his first day of wrestling. I want to see, because I saw this photo a little bit earlier, and I want to see if I can re-find it again. But that last look on Hager has to be a meme at some point. And it's just funny.
But I like how they understand that it should end with a bad guy mugging. You know, that's what we want. We want this like chaos. I think they're gonna do throwbacks to how like Raw and Nitro used to end. If they consistently focus on that, then I think they're onto something, because I'm into this vibe right now. Like, it
Yeah.
feels kind of like it's breaking down. Nobody's coming to help.
Well,
We'll just
let's also do something real quick. They're on WWE. They're reminding you through a lower third that just says you're watching a tag team championship, so they may actually be expecting you to come over. Meanwhile, on AEW's programming, they went straight into replaying the show, much like I remember from really early like Nitros when they would replay. Like right after it was done, just so in case you like walked in at the wrong time and you're like, oh, I missed the first 30 minutes, you can kind of catch up on it. Which, think about that television eat up time, like how long that is. So one question we can ask is, will they count how many people tuned in, including the number they get here, as part of their composite number
on
the ratings?
On the overhang?
I think so. Well, no, for AEW, yes. So what happens is sometimes instead of saying what the exact rating was, they go, last night, 3 million people tuned in to AEW. And then meanwhile, they're like, but only 500,000 of them watched it live. The rest of the people pirated it or watched it through memes. But 3 million people
Watch it through Twitter or something. Yeah, right. No,
with WWE goes like 4 million people watched it on their friend's cell phone in a
But I
barber
like
shop.
it. Well, no, but yeah, see, people won't get the fact. Like, remember when you used to like, it's like that old Christmas, like old school Christmas, where they're walking by the window and they see the TV and they're like shows playing. Like, I used to watch wrestling like that, like at a Sears, like, or just randomly. Like, you'd have to be. There was an aesthetic to that. There's no. That's why I was asking if the ratings are deemed by like streaming and stuff, because you can just go on the WWE network whenever you want.
Well, I think that's the hope for all of this, is that they kind of know that ratings are diminishing. So I think that's part of the reason why there's such an emphasis. I think that's part of the reason why Fox paid $4.5 billion for the WWE product, because it's a live product. And live is one of the few things that still attracts people, especially for athletic or sporting events. So I think that's kind of their hope, is that they get people to go, oh, is it live? Yeah, I'll watch that, because then the fear of missing out. Oh, no, did I miss Jack Swagger making his cameo at the end? No, I can't miss that next week, especially if they keep trying to kill each other.
Well, especially if people like ourselves, which we're just kind of toying with this, being the first time I've ever used a fucking webcam and have this. I got some serious computer work to do, dude. This is even funny. I gotta get anyway, but like people that want to tweet, people want to be the first to. It's only necessary if you want to watch it live, because you can turn your life off to not pay attention to.
Oh, that's actually a really good thing to bring up. Do you know that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well,
yeah,
no, shut up. I'm actually got a thing here, because I can actually put those comments that we get when people chime into us, sir, on our broadcast.
What'd you say, brother?
Look at, you can't see this, but we can actually intertwine our comments that we get on our show. So that question from Joe Wright is right here. And here's an interesting thing about this match that's still going on in the dubs, is that they're actually utilizing jiu-jitsu finishing moves. There's like a straight footlock that was being used on the one side, and on the other side there was a guillotine choke. But Joe Wright had put that question to us that said, didn't watch the next show, or NXT show, but saw the YouTube highlights. More main roster WWE guys making the move to NXT like Finn. Who would you like to see go back to NXT, Mike?
Auska. I thought they were gonna pull. I thought actually Kevin Owens and Cesaro were gonna come out and do this. I thought it would have been cool if Kevin Owens. They kept Kevin Owens off of TV with the whole Shane thing.
Yeah,
with the whole $25 million, and had him come that beat and him call Shane out. They should have. Do you think if they would have done the Kevin Owens versus Shane match? Well, I guess they're going to do it. But if they did an NXT on this show, I think that would have popped bigger than a lot of this other stuff.
Maybe. I think they are saving that one. So our thanks to Joe for that question, though. That's pretty dope. I mean, the fact that we can actually integrate an interactive element is something that I think will be interesting to see, because we were talking about how do you stay relevant in an era where everything's digital and now and must go.
They have to go. Well, Joe didn't care about NXT. He said he just saw it through YouTube clips, but or the YouTube clips. Oh, because he probably saw it because he saw the East Coast. Because we're watching the West Coast feed, so he'd already seen
Then
it.
somebody asked earlier, and they said, "You think the close of the show of AEW is showing a possible new faction with Sammy G, LAX, and Hager?"
What is the name of this faction? LBGTQLAX.
Would be great if instead of LAX, they were just like, we're not sure if we can call him that, so we're just going to call him John Wayne Airport.
That was actually pretty good. I don't ever put you over like that. That was good. JWA. That's fucking brilliant.
And
that's it. It's
we have
game time. Total elimination.
Over on 10:07 on NXT. Kyle O'Reilly getting the pin.
I like total elimination.
Okay, let me see. Oh, hold on. Michael Peters. The faction needs to be called Tegritty.
What is that? What is that? Did he just take all the acronyms of their fucking... Tell me that's all their last names.
I don't know. Mike, you got to tell us if you got something more on that one. I'm not really sure. Tegritty. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like something that you order at Denny's that they just came up with some bullshit name where you go, yeah, I'll have the Tegritty breakfast. Comes with some grits.
No, can we please try to figure
bacon,
this out?
some eggs like a real American.
Tegritty. To a gritty. To a gritty to quitty.
Oh, God. You know what the worst part is? The waitress who has to come over and be like, it's October. Are you too gritty to quit? Dude, fuck, I hate my life. Can you please just tip me well?
No. What? Who's coming out?
Who's coming out on NXT? It's impossible to know. Oh, wait.
I didn't know by the graphic. Is that Auska's?
No. Well, though, it would have been great if Auska was just coming out to challenge.
Look at him. Okay. It's a definite clash of hairstyles, I would say. Yeah. It's like a homeless man found out that he had some food.
You know what it is? It's not just a homeless person. It's like the homeless person you try to avoid when going to like a 7-Eleven. You just kind of are like not making eye contact. You're just like, hey, dude, I'm just trying to get some water, man. Like, I'm just trying to pick up an energy drink. If you can just leave me alone, dude. And they're just like, you don't have any money? And you go, I have enough money to buy this energy drink, and that's literally it, dude. Like, I don't got enough money to give you other shit. And they'll like see you walk out with like an energy drink and a ho-ho, and they'll be like, I thought you said you only had enough for an energy drink. And it's like, motherfucker, this is my money, stop telling me how to spend it. Like, what the fuck, dude? We should have you work for a bank instead.
I know you have change in your pocket. What you got on my 40?
Well, let's say this.
He just got deboed. Adam Cole just got deboed.
He did, but let's look at this. I'm trying to find a photo to make sure that you guys can see what happened at the end. I don't want to do footage because the Dubs has already been on me about that this week. So let's see if we can get you guys.
Oh, you see that like so nonchalantly. You know, Janice over there at the Dubs sent me another email, which is like, Raf, you really need to settle down. Vince's game.
Oh shit! It's been forever since I've seen this. God damn it! Oh, it's so nice.
Whatever's after.
No, just the Vince Fears ratings as a sign. Like, what a time to live in again. Oh, I remember these signs.
Ratings are enough. I'm disappointed in what's after NXT. It's always like they should have put like silk stockings. That's low key what AEW should have done. They should have ran like just a silk stockings, just like the intro right after, just to tag it on, just to be dicks. Or what happened? What used to come on TNT after?
Well, I thought preceding it used to be Thunder in Paradise and all that shit
on TNT.
Yeah. I remember they try to put like those like the synergy programming as well. So,
I like Pacific Blue.
I still to this day am always like when someone goes, "Did they make a sequel to Baywatch?" And I was like, "Not quite." They basically just put Baywatch on bikes, and it wasn't as thrilling as you thought it would be. Well, we've made it to the end of both shows, and instead we get Temptation Island. And there's a dude playing football with a child on a show called Temptation. Nope, I choose no.
No, this is a Chrisley.
Oh, it's the Chrisleys. I thought it was Temptation Island.
I'm all about. Did you hear what's going on with these guys though? For real?
I did.
The
But I don't.
motherfucker's like in like federal prison or some shit for like tax evasion. But like I guess like sodomy or something.
The thing is that I always look at my wife when the dumb reality shows that she watches, and she doesn't really watch that one. But whenever something happens to a dumb reality show that I blame her for making popular, I just look at her and I go, "You did this. This one's on you."
You're responsible for the Chrisleys. You opened up that box. Look at him. He's a G. He gets it. He really, really, really gets it. You know what I mean?
I don't approve.
That, like, femininity enough, but like it's okay because he's rich and you don't really know if he needs the life or like what's going on.
Let's talk about this instead. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we go ahead and close this out very nicely. We've been on the air for about 2 hours right now.
You have. Maybe you have. I've been on the
Stop
air.
crying. So the way that it works is that we want you guys to come back and check us out. Now, I'm not exactly sure how the WWE schedule is going to impact everything because there's wrestling on every single night. However, there is a likelihood that you'll hear from us about SmackDown, maybe not on Friday, but maybe
so that
after
was
the weekend.
So that was the prequel to our season premiere that we're ironing out the hitches and stuff. I gotta figure out this this life.
All right. So
what is even tomorrow? What is even tomorrow for wrestling? Is it like Impact or something?
Don't know. Maybe it's Ring of Honor was supposed to be on a night, I thought too, but wouldn't know. What I can tell you guys is this: if you aren't liking us on all the social media platforms, go find us. You can find us on Facebook at Real Heel Section, on Twitter at Real Heel Section, and then on Instagram at Real Heel Section. If you enjoy programs like this, please be sure to support us. Share this video. Maybe you enjoyed it the same way we did. I'm very happy that you guys were able to join us today. And, on behalf of myself and my good friend Mike Stallings, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a great day for wrestling. We will see you guys later.
Yeah, that was fun. I'll figure it out. And too sweet me.